Jetzt.
Hi there, me again. Today I am in the lucky position to have a cameraman and to have Fabian there, and I thought I would do something on the intercepting punch, or maybe intercepting strike, as the case may be. Also I can then show, once I showed on the person, how the whole thing can be practiced on the wooden dummy. After all, having a dummy and then not using it would be stupid. So, if you please give me a left jab. This is what we would all know and recognize as the intercepting punch, right? Now this is a simplistic and elegant technique, but it is by no means whatsoever a beginner's technique. It isn't. Also, there is the other kind of intercepting punch, left jab again. That is where I come on the inside, and there you can see immediately that if I do it only a little bit wrong, he will nail me. If I do it right, I nail him, and I'm in no danger at all. But you can see I need to have stuff in place if I want to do that. First of all, if he comes, left jab again, if I come from the outside, what I need obviously is timing. I need that kind of footwork, and I need good roots, because if I'm too floppy, then I'm just, so, I mean, I overdid it, but obviously from the outside, if he really packs some punch and adapts, then I really need to be stable, otherwise he will push me over. So I need the other hand up and stuff. And again, if I do it from here, you see, maybe I don't get him, maybe I punch his own fist in his nose, but the point is, if he would now come, he would still, if he bends and takes it down overhood, he might still get me. So I need other stuff in place before actually ever be able to pull off the intercepting punch. So the intercepting punch is not a beginner's technique, because what I need, come again, what I need in place here is my backup. What do I do if he presses my intercepting punch away? Then I need to have stuff in place, and I need to do that beforehand. Otherwise I have the intercepting punch and can't use it because I don't have the backup in case things fail. The easy version, of course, again, is coming from the outside. Let's see it from this. So I'm in the right lead, he's in the left lead, so I make things easy for me. And as you can see, what I do is stop. This is almost like the karate block that goes in here, only now here I let fly. And as you can see, I have my back of my hand is pointing downward, and the finger side is pointing upward. Normally you have a diagonal fist or the karate fist, but in both cases I have a mechanical disadvantage. If I do it karate style, you see he hits me, I have no wedge, no nothing to push him away. So if I'm lucky, he hits me here, but if I'm not so lucky, what we do is we trade shots. Yeah, big deal. No good. If I do it Wing Chun style, and it stands up, maybe I get him out of the way, but maybe I miss him. So we both don't trade blows, we both miss blows, and maybe I'm in for the second shot. And when I do it like this, I always get my shot in, I'm away, and I really nail it. So this is almost the same thing as the arrête thrust in fencing. I think that is where Bruce Lee got the idea from. And if you see what I'm doing from the front, the step, this is my entry motion, and now I'm actually lifting the elbow up to stretch the arm. So this is not so much pushing up like this is more like lifting the elbow up and giving the stretch. I don't know if I explained that good enough, but that way I'm always wedging the other arm away and going straight for the shot. Like this. Of course I have the other arm here to just block it and jam it. And now I can go in with other stuff, because I just, in the back swing, I mean, this arm goes down under anyway. So this is the easy part. The not so easy part is the intercepting punch that we do from the inside. Let's put it to the extreme. I will put this arm on the back of, so that you really see Let's do it from this side. And you can see this is a totally different mechanics. I'm using actually something that is almost a karate punch. And I'm overdoing. A karate punch would stop here. This is turning even further. So this is kind of a shield. This is at the same time a punch forward and a sliding leverage block. If I get it done, this can be a fight ender right here. And now, because I pretty much go on his nose, and once I learn how to do that with the fist closed and no longer have to fear, I can of course use a tiger claw and make it even nastier. Or slip in like this. But this slip in like this, I don't even need much power if I get the thumb in his eye. But I need the structure so that he doesn't nail me here. Because if I do it only slightly wrong, then that's the end of the story. I believe I already said something about the intercepting punch on the inside. I would probably never really attempt to go for something like this because it's inherently risky. But on the other hand, in combat, when the shit hits the fan, what you've got is what you've got to deal with. And that is why we need to be able to do it. But I would like to start out with I like to start out with the backups for this. So if we come again, this is the most likely thing that happens. He just pushes me out of the way, so my intercepting punch is intercepted by his, because incidentally, as you see, he is exactly in the position for the outward intercepting punch. So they are complementary to each other. And the question is, how do I neutralize this? And the first thing is, I can no longer neutralize it when he is above my elbow. If he is between my elbow and my shoulder line, then actually the only thing that saves me would be a lean back, a boxer's lean back, and maybe something Aikido-ish to get the arm out of the way. So I would then really need a boxer technique. If I don't want that kind of stuff, then I need to make contact somewhere between my fingers and the elbow on the forearm. Now I have a chance to let this flow into a bong sao and get this in. Now I can either make this into an intercepting punch or go into a classical lap sao stuff, something like that, and then either hit him or go for a dumok or something like that. But I need to have this drill. We have never done this. Okay, well, we have done this. Yes? Yes. We need to have this drill in place. Otherwise, attempting the inside intercepting punch, or bridge punch as it is called in Xingyi, is suicide. Because if it fails, we have no fail-safe. And we need this as a fail-safe. Otherwise, it's no good. Also, it's not bad if we have this karate type block and really with the ability to take the oomph. So if he comes with a diagonal strike from above, exactly that kind of strike, if he comes again, we need to be able to block that hard on. Not necessarily because we want to use that or block it that way, but it is exactly the same kind of energy and pressure that comes in. So when we can do that, that is preparing us very well to, again, do the intercepting punch, because the elbow to shoulder is exactly positioned and the rest of the body is exactly positioned the same way. So my bridge from the feet up, through the legs, through the hips, up my spine, up to this point to the elbow is exactly the same with the inward intercepting punch or with the karate block. You see, it is only a marginal difference. So in a manner of speaking, the inside intercepting punch is a prolonged karate block that you give forward and where you aim for the nose or the socket of the eye with something. But you need to have that mechanic in place. Otherwise, the guy is going to nail you. So a way to practice this would be, he has his hands on me like this. No grip, monkey grip, like this. Okay, now you press me. Yes. This is, you have seen this is called the inner tube drill. This is, on the one hand, press in my direction. Yes. You could say this is a precursor to cheese how. You could also say this is kind of sticky hand, push hands. But what this really is, this is a half isometric exercise. This is a strength and structure building exercise. He gives me as much pressure as he can. And the whole point is for me to learn how to deal with the pressure he gives me while in motion. And this gives me the attributes to pull that off. And now, as two strong guys doing this with each other, I assure you my wife is able, you know my wife, small, petite, small friend, she is able to hold the pressure I give her. So this is, in the beginning, a muscle game. I won't deny that. But if you refine it and hone it for a couple of weeks, it becomes a game of body structure. And now, it is not, he is much stronger than I am, but he will not be able to crush me because I have the structure. And now I can do the motion. And the whole point here is to make this a strength exercise, because it will give me exactly the structural benefit that I need to finally, come again, left jab. Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry. To get away with this, I don't know, what we just did, the powerful sticky hands precursor, is exactly what gives me what I need for this. Also, if he presses me in, now I sense what he is doing. Although I do this under much pressure, it still also develops my sensitivity. It's almost more a wrestling exercise than it is a Chisao exercise. So this is really force on force. It's also a lot of fun, but the main point is to develop the strength and the structural strength. And you see, as soon as he gets me to do compensatory steps, I'm getting a hard time. But it gives me what I need, left jab again, to do this. So the order of appearance is to do this kind of inner tube drill lots of times until we have the strength, and it stops being a muscle game and starts being a structure game. And you could do that either with a lot of explanation or just do it for a while. It will become a structure game in and of itself, because the body inherently is lazy. So if you do it sometime, you will learn quite by yourself in a natural process to do this more with your tendons and your bones and less with your muscles. The next thing you need to have is this drill. You need to have that in place in case you need a backup, and only then do you start with the intercepting punch. And also there you reverse engineer it. In other words, he has a kind of an en-garde position. You are here and you wait until he slowly gives you that. Now you make the punch, you go back. So this is how you start practicing this. Or the other way around. So you have now slight pressure, and when I start, yes, now he is giving, now you see how he is pushing me outside, and right, and if I slide along, I barely miss him, but I miss him. So in other words, barely missing is still missing. So that is all that thing is supposed to do. So this is exactly like in fencing. And once he can do it out of a contact, now the next thing is we do it without contact, half speed, jab. So that we get the timing, and we start slow. See, I got the timing wrong. He actually would nail me. So this is now the time when I need the backups. One of the backups I could use here would be going for leverage stuff, and all that can be pulled out of the Lapsau drill. And the same is true when we finally go for the other intercept. That is much easier. The other intercept actually starts with getting him here, and then come forward with just generating power by turning the wrist. And you see, my arm here is almost stretched out. He presses my arm back. I'm turning my wrist and he's way off. He started out right for my nose and now he is past it. This is how we start out on it. Once we can do that, we now, just without letting our arm being bent, we now just do the turning. Be careful, it is better to make a half fist, because if you make your fingers open, you may be accidentally piercing your partner's eyeball. Not so preferable. So, have it almost stretched out and just turn your wrist. This will deflect him 1,000 miles to Chicago. And now go the full stretch and also center punch in. That's the way how to systematically develop that. Now, the next way, how to incorporate that into some kind of sparring. Would you go? Are you a natural right lead or left lead fighter?
Right.
Right lead.
Lead is this foot.
Yes.
And left lead.
Okay, then we will do it like this and go like here. So you all remember that I once had this. Slap it away. Come. Then we had this kind of exchange. And now you can naturally put this in. See, this was an intercepting punch that I missed because he got me out of the way. This was one where I got in successfully, and you just build them into your roll every now and then. This is not so easy. So as you can see, the outward intercepting punch is much easier to achieve. But this is the way how to build it into something where you use movement. Sometimes you also cheat and go from the outside on the side where you should be inside, and you get creative with it. I mean, this looks nothing like a school book intercepting punch at all. Nonetheless, I would probably enter somewhere in this eye socket, which is enough to distract him for whatever else might come. Because if something explodes in your eyes, that's not so pleasant. And it should give you enough of a distraction of your opponent to finish the job. But like I said, this is, you just build it in there. And as you can see, in real life, it's almost impossible to get this inside punch in. So you need, when you want to apply it, the lap saw drill or something like that as a backup. So in real life, did I hit you?
A little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. So in real life, you get this by surprising him, because what I did here was he expected me to slap him away, and I went inside and almost slapped his own fist inside. So when you really go to town, you should wear protective equipment. And but the point is, of course, I used something. I surprised him, which is the real test of could I pull it off or not. Because in the street, I'm surprised myself, and the other guy is surprised. So every now and then, doing something out of the ordinary is what is required. So you can use a lot of variations in this drill, and every now and then build it in. You see, now it starts to become alive. And now the other thing. I said this is also an intercepting strike more than an intercepting punch. Maybe we see that best from here. Left jab. This is a punching solution. Now it might be he is getting me completely in here. He takes me by surprise, happens out of the blue, this is the best I can get. I end up like here. So now it is an intercepting elbow. Or now it is an intercepting backhand. Or an intercepting chopping hand. The point is, once we learn to do that with a nice straight punch, we will learn also to do this with a hook, with a backhand, with all kinds of stuff. Besides, also, I would recommend we really know our stances, and we should be able to do a Wing Chun style punch, we should be able to do a karate style punch, and we should be able to do a boxing style punch until in our mind and our muscle memory, it is just us sticking out an arm straight. And we no longer really discern if we do it Wing Chun style, karate style, or boxing style. So it is just a straight punch, more or less. And we should have that mechanics straight. And when we have all that, then we can go for the partner practice. Now I will show something on the dummy, because you saw when Fabian and I did the back and forth practice that I always missed when I tried to intercept my inner punch. So I'm too weak. What to do to fix that? Do you still see me on the dummy?
Yes.
Good. So if you are not strong enough or something is lacking, of course you may want to practice it on the wooden dummy, which is also an isometric training device. So I'll set it for the right height. This obviously is a little bit too high. This is too low. So let's take the other hole. Ah, here we go. That's just right. So now I could use this nut to fixate it. I will not do that because otherwise it's a lot of unnecessary work and you don't look to watch me changing the nuts and bolts. So what I can do now is go here so that it is really, the arm is in my way. And now I'm going for the intercepting punch. This is a little bit of elastic resistance. And I really push this out of the way. If I wanted more resistance, now it's all loose. If I wanted more resistance, I would fixate it with the nut and the washer, and then it would be more in the order of magnitude of this. Much less resistance. For these single drills, I prefer those arms. You see, those arms are exactly level. Those are pointing a little bit straight up, because most punches, in my experience, this resembles an actual punch much more than these. So these train different stuff. So, and if I want a really firm arm, I use this. So now we can practice the intercepting punch. Outside punch on the arm. We can practice the inside punch of the arm. Could you film directly from behind me? Otherwise the angles will not be shown right. Because you see, this is more pointing to my left-ish shoulder, and this is all to build up the structure. Now I'm coming in on this side, so like this, but I'm making my life difficult artificially by having this point to my left-ish shoulder. So this is left of my center line, and now I am going in and doing it slow motion, pushing it all out of the way and punching, making it as firm or as soft as I wish by applying the washers or the nuts and bolts. If I screw it tight, then this is really tight, and this is for beginning practice. So there is an element of resistance to be overcome. If I have practiced that enough on the other side, now I have it point to my right shoulders, and now I do it with the right arm. So there is really some snaking motion going on, some pressing out of the way, and this really teaches me how to go for it. Now the point is, why do I show the wooden dummy after the human practice? This is one of the things where you actually first should know what to do on a human being, and only then go to the practice device, because this teaches the technique, it teaches our root, it teaches our basics, and it is a way to teach bridges from the foot up to the point of impact. And we should know the tactical application. So in this case the dummy is really the advanced piece of practice, because we should first have an understanding of what we are doing on a human being. Now we can mix. Again, I will always make my life a little bit difficult. This is now pointing toward my right shoulder, and I'm now going to the outside punch. You see, I'm only doing body contortion. I could also do this with a step. The step alone would be, that's it. But if you do only body contortion, then you really do something for your roots. If you really, really, really want to do something for your roots, do it on one leg. This will work wonders for your stance. And that is about what I could say concludingly to the intercepting punch. Now, like I said, you could also end up, the guy surprises you totally, and this is all you get in. Now you have an intercepting elbow or an intercepting chop. So this intercepting punch, although the intercepting punch clearly is not a beginner's technique because you need other stuff in place before you can use it, it is still a point to begin with. Once you know how to do the straight, you should also know how to do that with any kind of forehand motion and with any kind of backhand motion. And then you have built yourself a repertoire of intercepting stuff. And once you can do it with your fist clenched, then doing it with the open hand is advisable. Because, like I said many times, the fists need a lot of conditioning before we can use them. So the fists in this case is just a way to make sure that we do not break our own fingers when practicing it. Once we have the practice, open hand is preferable. Because it is more versatile, it doesn't need conditioning, and we can have those nasty tiger claw techniques that are so well adjusted to street applications. I think that should be it. Thanks for watching. Cut.